Guys, I understand that lately there has been some what could be perceived to be negative news reports about what's been happening in China. Now, I hope the Chinese government doesn't feel like I'm constructing this stuff. I'm simply reporting on what's in the news and what's happening. I would like to go back to China. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Hey guys, I've got an EcoFlow Delta 2 right here and the Delta Pro, which is about 4 times bigger than this. I've used them over the past 2 months many times. I didn't think I would, but I've needed them. There's been electrical problems in the house. There's been massive storms here in Australia. They've been absolutely, for me, game-changing, life-saving. Up to 45% off sale. I'll put a link in the description, and I think that's on for the next 3 weeks. So click on that link. You can take advantage and get one of these batteries for a really good price. China has summoned top automakers over zero mileage used vehicles. This is a pretty big problem. And China is not the only country where this has happened, I should point out. This has happened in Australia. This has happened in the United States, but it has become a growing issue in China. Therefore, the Chinese government are calling a meeting, and apparently that meeting took place yesterday, where they said, you have to stop this. This has to end. You can't keep registering cars, calling them sold when they're not sold, and then selling them in the used car market in order to make your sales look good. Of course, if your sales look good, it affects your stock price, right? Your stock price goes up. And what else happens? Consumers think, wow, they're selling lots of cars. I'm going to buy one from them. They must be good. Yeah, so there is some vested interest for why companies are doing this. This meeting was meant to have taken place, I believe, yesterday, and included industry trade groups such as the China Automobile Dealers Association and online car distribution channels, according to a memo shared by Li Yanwei, official at the Dealers Association on Weibo. Now, of course, automakers from all over China are meant to be involved in this. A representative for Dongfeng Motor Group said officials from the company attended the gathering. Invitations were extended to car makers on the 25th of May, and the event wasn't an inquiry. It was, do this, or there's going to be problems. Do what we say, basically, which I think is a good thing. Basically, the media have said, ask the Chinese government for comments. They haven't responded. Zero mileage cars came to public attention last week when Great Wall Motor Company chairman warned an unhealthy outlook for China's car industry following a years-long price war, which has been escalated enormously by BYD slashing prices by 10 to 34% on 25 different models. Now, other car makers like Chery have responded with massive discounts, up to 40% discounts on some models. This is, I think, not a good thing for the automotive industry. I don't agree with them doing this. I think it's causing a race to the bottom. We need our car if you're going to buy a car, you want it for a good price, no question, but you don't want that manufacturer to go bankrupt because they're having to discount their cars to ridiculous levels. Under the practice, anyway, getting back to the story here, automakers that have failed to meet their sales targets distribute new vehicles to supply chain financing companies or used car dealers, according to the Dealers Association's lead. This essentially means that new cars then appear on the resale market with zero mileage. I mean, it's a new car, but it's being sold as a used car, and manufacturers record them as sales despite not reaching the end consumer. And that was written on Weibo by the CEO of Great Wall Motors. So kudos to him for revealing this issue. While that would be viewed as fraud in the United States and some other markets, it's still done anyway, it's apparently not clearly regulated in China. And he urged the Ministry of Commerce and China Securities Regulatory Commission to stamp out the practice. Here in Australia, this sort of thing, it's not done in the same way, but it is done in a different kind of way. And if you're following the Australian automotive industry, you'll be aware manufacturers will often register cars in a different month to when they sell them in order to look really good in that month. You get a news, if say, for example, a Hyundai was well known for doing this. Say, for example, you can say, oh, we were number one in Australian sales market. We had the best selling car. We were number one. So what they'll do is they'll register more cars in 1 month. Then they'll have a bad month, but no one really talks about the bad month. The media will say, wow, look at that great month. They've risen to the top of the sales charts. But actually, they just registered the cars. They didn't actually sell them. So it's unclear which companies are involved. Great Wall's CEO estimated that as many as 4,000 secondhand sellers, that's 4,000 actual sellers, not individual sellers, but actual dealerships, post zero mileage cars on online platforms. So it's being done all across China. He pointed to the practice as indicative of the chaos engulfing China's auto sector and warned the industry is facing its own China Evergrande group, the real estate developer and builder that has defaulted on loans and become an emblem of the country's years-long property crisis when they lost hundreds of billions of dollars. And a lot of people, a lot of mum and dads lost a lot of money as a result of that. China Evergrande also created a new energy car unit, an EV unit, to build and sell electric cars. That hasn't worked. They spent huge amounts of money and nothing came about. The CEO of Great Wall Motors has not identified the companies that he has alluded to, but there has been an enormous rivalry. Some might say a bit of a hatred between Great Wall Motors and BYD. They constantly slag each other off. It does appear kind of petty, let's be honest. It appears as though both of them probably need to just get over it and stop doing that to each other publicly, because the way they're slanging stuff at each other, it makes neither of them look good. No one's going to win. I think the best thing to do here, if you're BYD or if you're Great Wall Motors, is just shut up, just say nothing. In this case, it's a different story. So in this case, to Great Wall Motors, they're not saying, hey, BYD's doing this, which I think they are, possibly. They are saying this is an issue. We need to fix this issue. China's auto industry has been embroiled in an extended price war that's taking a major toll on car makers, which has been blamed on Tesla, which is a ludicrous idea because Tesla's cars are more expensive than basically everyone else. They are worse value for money than any other car company, Chinese car company in China. So I don't think we can really say it's Tesla's fault. And obviously, as you guys know, I don't get paid anything by Tesla to say that. It's just pointing out the facts here. BYD saw shares slump around 10% in the first 2 days of this week after announcing price reductions of as much as 34% on Chinese models until the end of June. And the market leader last month posted its slowest year-on-year growth in vehicle deliveries in more than 4 years. So basically, BYD, they have set a very ambitious sales target. They want to sell 6 million cars this year worldwide. I think they'll probably do it, but they're willing to do anything it takes in order to make that happen, which, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that strategy plays out long term. This is not to say BYD is not currently successful. They're doing incredibly well as a company, but they are facing pressure from companies like Geely. And Geely has 3 of the 10 best-selling electric cars in China this year, and BYD has 2. Now, BYD obviously is dominating the plug-in hybrid sales share in China, but not so much the EV market as it used to. So there's a lot of pressure in China right now from different companies, new car companies, Zeekr, XPeng, Leapmotor. Their sales are increasing. They're putting in more enormous pressure. And then there's all these legacy automakers. There's Toyota and Honda, which are discounting their cars. Nissan, selling their cars for insane prices that are like 50% or more than 50%. In fact, you could even say 60% cheaper than what they're sold outside of China. So part of this price war is not just BYD, it's actually Toyota. Look at Toyota's new SUV. It's the size of a Tesla Model Y and they sell it for $14,000. Yeah, that's including discounts, but regularly they're selling their cars $14,000 for a car that's competing with a Tesla Model Y that costs $32,000. So some of this price war is not BYD, it's coming from Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, who feel like they're under immense pressure to claw back market share. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are. How do you see this all playing out? Let us know in the comments. Bye-bye.